Financial literacy is important for all of us, but we know it's especially important for teens as they are really just getting started to make money for the first time. So we've got financial expert Mark Triplett joining us here with some advice for those teens and their parents. Good to have you in studio here, Mark.
Great. Well, thanks for welcoming me to your home today. This is great.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, the world has changed so much. We know that there are more ways to make money than ever before. You have all kinds of side hustles, all these different things. And, you know, I think about growing up, it was like, okay, you're going to work at the pool or you're going to do certain things. So would you say that that makes it maybe a little bit easier or harder when it comes to teens learning these lessons about money?
So I have a teen myself, and I like to talk to him and his friends about some of these topics. I feel there's a pretty big disconnect between how difficult it is to acquire money and how easy it is to let it slip through your fingers. And we talk about, what's a good hourly rate, and then taxes that are involved in that, and what do you actually get to take home and spend. And as it relates to the things that they want, it's a big disconnect there.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I would imagine also, because you're thinking about taxes and things like that. I remember back when I was a teenager, I would think, okay, I'm getting this money, I can spend it however I want, and then all of a sudden it's gone, and then you're having to wait another couple of weeks. What are some ways that teens can be smarter when it comes to saving money?
Well, I think it would be good for teens to learn how to budget.
Okay.
Sometimes adults haven't learned how to do this. And we spend a lot of time in school learning reading, writing, arithmetic, all important things. But whether you're college bound or going to a trade school or just going right into the workforce, most folks are going to spend the majority of their life dealing with money, this value system that we have in the exchange for goods and services. And I think it's really important that they learn how to manage that expense and not come up with too little at the end of the month, so to speak.
So when you're just starting out with that very first job, what could making a budget as a teenager look like?
Well, so a mentor of mine used to say, use the 70-10-10 rule. So you take 10% set it aside for taxes, 10% set it aside for savings, and 10% set it aside for giving, if that's something that's important to your family. And then you can spend the rest of it however you see fit.
That's a very good idea here. And when you've got these different platforms like TikTok, you've got Instagram, all these different influencers out here that are promoting these certain type of lifestyles, is that also shaping up how teens are seeing money and spending?
Oh, for sure, yeah. They're seeing some of these influencers and their extravagant lifestyles, and that could be, there's positives and negatives with that. Some of the negatives are realizing that a lot of those influencers, they're getting a lot of this stuff like for brand awareness, so they're getting some of the stuff for free, or some of it's just a fake. They don't even own the stuff that they're showing on their videos. But it can also motivate teens to be a little bit more entrepreneurial and strive for something a little bit better, going out and making something for themselves.
That's good advice. Also, I do want to ask you this real quick. So we talk about things like teen debit cards, there's budgeting apps, stuff like that. Are those things that teens could really benefit from?
I do believe so, with the guidance of parents and maybe teachers. If there's a program at your school that has that type of personal finance literacy available, I think it's important for teens to learn how to use those tools, but use them appropriately. I still like to give my son cash. I think it's when I see him go and buy something and he opens up his wallet and he pulls money out of that and he sees that he's exchanged it for something else and it's gone. I think that's a big lesson learned right there.
And I know even for myself, I've noticed that when I have cash, I'm paying much more attention to where that money is going, whereas sometimes the card feels like it's limitless, but we know it's not.
Right, it's a life lesson. You learned it at your age, but we can teach it at 12, 13, 14.
Exactly. Mark, we appreciate your time as always.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.